here's my review of my 2019 E450 Coupe in Cardinal Red. After 1 week of ownership, I've been on the same tank of gas. I have a 66 mile round trip drive to and from work. I'll throw my vehicle stats up in the corner so you can see them. And it's just kind of worth note that I think it's the same engine that's in the C43. So it kind of has a little pickup, but it also is a very heavy car. So we both owned CLA 250s, hers the black, mine the gray. We were that couple with the matching cars, but it wasn't very practical because if it didn't fit in her car, it wouldn't fit in my car. So one day we were on the way to the airport. Everything was all good. We were stopped in traffic, and then we got hit. It's a 5-car pileup. 3 months later, she got hit in my car. So she bought a GLC 300, and I was looking at this C63S, but I decided against it. I got talked into the other car. My wife said, "Why don't you drive one of your other two options that are fast?" I decided to go with something that was closer to my gray CLA that I loved. After a little bit of back and forth with Oscar up at Park Place, Dallas, he's a great salesman, by the way. Whatever you need, he'll cater to you. We went with the E450. He also kind of talked me out of the C63S. I don't think it makes him a difference either way. But here's a good walk around shot, kind of, and a close up of the Stardust light, which I think is probably the coolest feature. While you watch me struggle trying to open this Touchless Trunk, I'll go over some of the features. So I have the Burnmaster surround sound, the rear deck lid spoiler, and the powered rear sunshade. The trunk is okay in size. It's an E-Class, so kind of bigger trunk. There's a bunch of stuff underneath the trunk lid there. Like it looks like a divider for groceries, a first aid kit, and an actual hard copy owner's manual if you decide you want to go through that 300-page thing. I probably eventually will, just so I can learn some of the features. And then if you look up top here, there is 2 buttons. The one on the right will close your trunk and lock the car, and the one on the left will just close the trunk. So and then you can also close it by using the kick feature. So making my way around to the inside of the car, I went with the saddle brown and black leather package. So saddle brown seats, black leather up top on the dash, very clean as you would expect with a Mercedes. The 12.3-inch display screen with Apple CarPlay. On either side of the steering wheel there are 2 touch pads. The one controls the dash in front of you. The other controls the touch screen, so you don't have to take your hand off the wheel to use all the other features. And the start-stop button doesn't come out on this car, so if your battery goes dead, I believe you put your key down into next to the ashtray down there, and you'll be able to start your car. Soft touch opening everything, because it's Mercedes, that's what they do. There's the Apple CarPlay port. I think that's kind of in a bad spot, and right next to it is the wireless charging, so you have that available for a passenger or yourself. I like the new AC vents. They look really cool. The back seat didn't really look all that big when you're sitting in the front, but I'm about to hop back there in the back, and there's actually way more room than I thought. On startup, you get, classic Mercedes logos, and then if I had my phone plugged in, obviously the Apple CarPlay would start. You would have all the displays there. But if you were coming from a GLA or CLA or any of the smaller Benzes, the console controls down here work kind of the same, with the exception of the top one is an actual touchpad, which doesn't really work in my wife's GLC 300. And there's your power sunscreen there in the back if you need it. I have my windows tinted, so I seriously doubt I'll actually ever use it for real. So I'm going to go through and change some of the colors here just to show you there's a ton of colors now. I personally was happy with the 7 or 8 colors that I had in my CLA, but to know I have more options, I guess is a good thing. I'm going to sweep it around so you can see what it kind of looks like here in the daytime, but it is kind of overcasty outside, and it's on full bright. So it would be kind of hard to see in the daytime, but at night it actually looks pretty good. And here's the sweeper on the cockpit area at night, so you can see what the ambient lighting looks like. The passenger side has three memory positions for the seat, so your passengers don't have to configure their own seat. They can just hop in and press the button. Alright, so the new key fob has a slot for it in the car. It's right next to the Apple CarPlay port, and it's labeled. So you'll see a key with little signal things coming from it, and that's, I'm sure, to signify that if the key's there and your battery key fob is dead, your car will still start, so you won't have those issues. So there's the front of the key fob, same standard buttons. Small button there at the bottom is to release the trunk key if needed. So there's my wife key and my key side by side. It kind of looks bigger, but not all that much. Center console, pretty big, can hold a lot of stuff. They also give you a Mercedes-Benz ashtray. I probably won't ever use that thing, so it'll just be there. There's a look at the back air vents for your passengers, and to the glove box. There could be the air freshener thing could be in there, but you can lock, unlock, and open the trunk also from your glove box. And down beside the driver's left foot, you can open and close the trunk. Kind of works just like a window switch. Up brings it up, down brings it down. There we go. I'm going to close the trunk. It kind of closes hard when you use that feature as opposed to any of the other ways to shut it. So you can just be mindful of that, I guess. And your lights are in the standard spot, park and brake, and up underneath there is how you get into the trunk. So if you're going to put people in the back seat, kind of my favorite part, open up the door, put the seat forward, and it'll slowly slide forward, allowing them the ability to get in without having to really mess with your seat settings. So you get in, pull the seat back towards you, and it does the exact same thing in reverse, kind of slowly, so you can't really be in a rush, or you can get in and just sit there and be squished for a second. But I'm 5'9", 230 pounds, so kind of a bigger dude. I fit pretty good. USB port, lighter, ashtray. Maybe the USB port will get used. On either side, there's a cup holder and it looks like a phone holder. Underneath where your seats or feet are, excuse me, there is storage. And I thought the center console thing here was going to be like an armrest, but it actually just looks right back into the trunk. So that's good if you need to get into your trunk from inside of your car. And it only seats 4 because that middle seat there is cup holders. And then the soft opening coat hanger if you need it. Then there we go, we're looking at to open the trunk. So this is probably the only time this trunk ever gets opened by myself, or not trunk, excuse me, hood, opened by myself. So with some effort, open it up, and there you go. What you'd expect a new Benz engine to look like. It's very clean. The only thing I worry about is those 2 intakes there, getting water in them and getting locked up.